Now, I started my YouTube channel about 8 years ago. I definitely didn't know what I was doing back then, and I still don't know what I'm doing now, as you can tell from my eclectic collection of videos. My very first video was a computer build. I'd never built any computers before, but in this case I decided I am going to just shove this little tiny computer into an Xbox shell. So the Xbox was dead, don't worry. I didn't kill it, it just was already dead. And so my channel was born. After doing countless of different types of videos, I come back again to do another Xbox home theater PC. Now, why a home theater PC and back into an Xbox? Well, number one, I have an extra Xbox shell, again from another Xbox that died. I didn't take out the pieces, I would never do that to an Xbox. But I took the shell and I had some older components, particularly a power supply and a mini ITX board that I wanted to use. This board with the AMD A8 7600, I believe, is a quad core, and I used it as my video editing rig for quite a while. But now with my Ryzen 5 3600, I quickly had no use for that particular CPU. But with the specs, it's perfect as a home theater PC build. Now again, home theater PC builds aren't really a thing now, I don't think, as much, because really even a Raspberry Pi can run some of the software, etc. But in this case, I like the aesthetics of it as well. I can customize this Xbox case a little bit and make it beautiful, make it my own. And on this channel, that's been the point sometimes, is it's definitely for me. And hopefully I can show you, like with the Xbox badge or emblem on the top, you know, how I do it to make it transparent, make it look good. But of course, hopefully this kind of inspires other people to do their own builds and for their own purposes. Because invariably we'll hear in the comments, people will say, why don't you make it in a gaming PC? Why don't you put this in it? Why don't you put that in it? And it's true, you can put anything you want in it. Hopefully this just gives you inspiration to go out and actually do it. Anyway, that's enough talk. We'll go right into the build. So one of the first things I have to do is just simply do a little cleanup of the components. One thing I'm going to save is the USB connection that I made to the outside front ports. And you'll see here my power switch and LEDs. The LEDs I put together in parallel. Now I do have some standoffs here, but because I'm using a mini ITX board, I just have to take out 2 of them. Like I said, I'm using a mini ITX with an A8 7600, and that has integrated graphics, 8 GB of RAM, and I believe it has a wireless module there. A solid gear 270 watt flex PSU, I believe it's called. The IO shield I can still put in, and now it's just about test fitting everything and seeing what orientation I need things. In the end, I decided to put the power supply flat. And I just have to make some modifications and making a paper template of the aluminum that I want to use to cover up some of the holes that I had put in from the previous build. This is not necessary, but I do attach it with some rivets. And I just have to do a bunch of soldering just to do the wiring. In this case, this is for the fans. So I'm going to have 2 60mm fans doing some intake. So I am just simply getting them onto the one connector. Just going to cut out a hole for the Xbox emblem. And I made this different video where I made a transparent Xbox emblem, and you can check it out. But I gotta figure out another way to put that in there. And what I'm going to be using is these little standoffs that I made from a audio cable. And that's so that the emblem can rest up a little bit and allow some of the warm air to go out. So kind of an area where the hot air can exhaust. Decided to paint the inside black. And there's the USB ports right there that are completely functional with an adapter that I have. And now it's just a matter of getting the motherboard and PSU in there. I'm using some command strips. I love these because they come off very cleanly if I want to take it out later on. But I did end up using one screw in the front also just to hold it into place. And it's just a matter of making all the connections. I used a fan controller to control my 60mm fans, and that's where I decided to put the SSD. I could have put it anywhere else, but I just put it there for the ease of access. And there's my 60mm fans working as an intake and exhausting out the other side and of course through the top. And just finally getting my LEDs. I decided to go with green LEDs for this build. And there's the connection closer up. And the way I have it set up is I use the original Xbox screws through the bottom of the feet there. And that's what closes the case, just like the original. And that's it. All done.
Now, reflecting over the 8 years of doing YouTube, I realized that I'm definitely a jack of all trades and master of none. My success or lack of success has always been a question to me. You know, should I be devoting myself to one thing? Computers, archery, motorcycles, and now my paddleboarding. So should I be devoting myself to just one thing? And I still can't. I know it'd be way more successful if I did focus on one topic and one main idea, but that just couldn't be me or wouldn't be me, and I wouldn't keep on doing this. I think I would just get too bored and run out of some ideas. So here it is. Just a mix of whatever you want. So sorry to some of my subscribers where I'll have a topic, I'll start on something, and I kind of move on to another thing. That's unfortunately just kind of the way my brain works. But what I do hope to do is to inspire some people to go out there, do a bunch of different things. People say, you know what, I'm bored. I have nothing else to do. I didn't really have anything to do this weekend, and I can't really say that. I'm always, you know, my mind's rolling and getting some video ideas or some interesting things that I would just want to show people, inspire people to do things, or teach people to do a couple things that I can do, and hopefully you just make your own adventure. It's been a while. Let me grab my dad joke of the day. Dad, I'm hungry. Hi, hungry. I'm Dad. That's it. Well, thanks for watching, and I hope to be doing some paddleboard videos in the near future. Fishing, I just bought an anchor. I bought a new rod and reel system. So hopefully I can go out there and catch some carp, which will be so cool. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next Ladybug adventure.